like what show I really like. I don't know. Do you guys know? This is a little crazy. Hi guys, I'm here with my cats, Sonic and Shadow. Oh. Sorry. Today I'm going to be making Star Butterfly. She was probably my most requested character like ever. And I was actually planning on doing her anyway, so I was super excited that you guys wanted to see her too. And I really hope you guys like it. Thank you guys for all your support. I really did not think that this would get as big as it has. I don't even think I'm that good. But I'm trying, and it's really fun to do. And I'm really glad you guys are enjoying it also. I am using Apple White First Chapter. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut off all of her hair until she looks like this. And then I'm just going to dunk her head into hot water so that it's easier to take off her head. Using tweezers, I'm going to scrape the inside of her head until I can get all of the plugs out. The next step is wiping off the factory paint with 100% acetone. I'm just using Q-tips. And here is her bare face ready for a repaint. But first, I'm going to reroot her hair. I'm using Lemonade from dollyhair.com. It's 19 inches, and I'm using a removing tool that I made. It's just a needle and an X-Acto knife part. It's not the best, but it does the job. Taking one small strand at a time, I am putting it into the cut needle, and I'm just going to poke it into each hole. Keep doing this one by one until you have a nice full head of hair. Here is her beautiful long blonde hair, but it's a little too long, so I'm going to cut it later. To have the hair stay in place, I'm going to take Fabri-Tac and squeeze a whole bunch of glue into her head. Now I'm going to spray her with Mr. Super Clear, which will get her ready for the repaint. Remember that this is very toxic, so please wear this mask and go outside. I'm starting off by giving her some blush with soft pastels. Now I am drawing on her eyes with watercolor pencils. The brand that I use is Prismacolor, and I also have some Faber-Castells, but I don't like them as much. Every once in a while, I seal the face again with Mr. Super Clear so that it saves the progress and I can build on color. Now I'm going over it with acrylic paint. Lastly, I am adding some gloss to the eyes and the lips, and then I'm going to get started on the clothes. All of these patterns I got off of Etsy from DJ Requiem. I'll put the link in the description, so please check them out. After cutting out two of the legging pieces, please sew along here and here. You'll get something that looks like this, and then you just sew all the way up the legs. Now onto the dress. Once again, these are various patterns that I got from Etsy. You'll get something like this, although I did decide to change the sleeves. The darts on the blouse can be a bit tricky, but you basically just fold it and then sew along the little triangle. Now I'm sewing on the back pieces. Now I am taking this collar piece and making her Peter Pan collar. You basically cut out 4 pieces and sew each of the 2 together. Then you attach it to the neckline. These are the new sleeves that I decided on. They're a lot shorter and they're not as ruffly. I am gluing down this white scallop. I guess you would call it a hem or a trim. I am not totally sure. But yeah, and then I just hand sewed the sleeves on. Now that the shirt is pretty much finished, we're going to get started on the skirt. I'm going to sew a longer stitch, and then I'm not going to backstitch so that I can pull the thread and make these cute ruffles. My sewing machine has a scalloped stitch, so I made the trim using that, and I'm just going to sew along here. Now I am sewing the bodice and the skirt together to make her dress. I am gluing on the Velcro, but you can also sew it. Now I am making this cute pink octopus thing that is on Star's dress. Now I am making her star bag out of this yellow felt. Here are all the pieces. Now I'm sewing a little smiley face on one of the stars. I bought these little googly eyes because I thought it would be pretty cute, and I'm going to glue them on. Here is some air dry clay that I got off of Amazon, and I'm going to make Star Butterfly's wand. Certain parts of the wand were really hard to make out of clay, so I just cut it out of craft foam. Here's a headband that I'm just painting red, and then I'm going to make the little horns out of the clay. If you're wondering why I suddenly have a band-aid, it's because I sliced my finger on a dog food can. Wow. The shoes that I'm using are from Cerise Hood's doll, and I'm just going to cut off the heels and the little puffball thing in the back. I am adding clay to make it more boot-like. I'm also going to add these googly eyes to the shoes, and then add the horns. Now she needs a haircut. I am cutting her bangs, and then I am styling it with hairspray. For the first time, I am adding on these eyelashes. What do you guys think? Ta-da! She is done! Here is the final product, and I love it. I think this is my favorite doll that I've made. The shoes were definitely the hardest part, and I can see that they're already like kind of falling apart. I really don't like them, but what are you gonna do? I don't know. I might make them again later. If you guys like this, remember to subscribe or give it a like or comment, whatever you want to do. You can also follow me on Twitter at itslampancy, where I will post progress photos a lot of the time and just random stuff. I don't know. Bye!
Hi everyone. One foot in front of the other.
Ooh.
That's a big one.
That is a big one.